The following video is a sponsored advertisement produced by the 7 doobies I ingested while writing the script. Back in the day, if you wanted to get in contact with someone, then you had to see them in person and hold a conversation. Maybe ask about their day or inquire about something that they like, all just to get to finally say what you want to say. Ugh, a terrible way to live. Well, thankfully, the big brains down at the labs in Silicon Valley have bestowed upon us a better way. Now we don't have to interact with each other at all. We can just send a typo-written text at 3 a.m. and then not respond for hours and wonder why our friends don't like us very much, just the way God intended. Do you really think that Moses went on top of a mountain to speak to God? No, baby girl, he just needed cell service. The news will tell you that Gen Z has record rates of depression and that apps like Instagram are making kids kick their own buckets. But if you ignore all of that, then technology has only made society better. Never mind the fact that elderly people are forced to use computers to pay their bills, even though nobody cares to teach them how, and also that they are regularly scammed out of millions of dollars that they can't get back because they're retired. And also don't think about the fact that because of capitalism, whoever has the most money has the best technology. And so if your country is poor, then you won't get the best technology to make a house, or the best technology to put things in a house, or a house. But none of that matters, because if you're lucky enough to live in one of those good countries, then there's a good chance that you have a smartphone, and that makes everything worth it, because everybody loves smartphones, right? Hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars for a rectangle metal and glass slab that works as a phone, but somehow keeps you from talking to your family. Everybody loves that, right? You know, I might be bad at this. Hello, my name's your mother, this is my YouTube channel, and today I can't sell you on smartphones, so I'll be doing the opposite and telling you why these damn phones will kill us all. A little bit about me before we start the rippin' and the tearin' of the tech industry is that I like tech, and specifically mobile tech, and even more specifically smartphones. This entire video is an excuse for me to nerd out, which means be autistic, about smartphones. But also because I genuinely believe that what's happening in the smartphone world is the intersection of every problem in the tech industry. If you want to fix any of those problems, we have to start with the things that we carry with us every day. As someone who finds smartphones really interesting, it is really hard for me to understand why most people don't. Because a smartphone is the most important physical item that you carry with you at any given time, and most people don't know or care to know how it works. It's the same thing with cars, by the way. Most people in America have to have a car and don't even try to learn basic car maintenance, making it so that we have a whole industry of mechanics that only know how to change oil and only on certain cars. We have literally created an entire industry of basically scam artists that don't know how to do anything and overcharge for everything because of our laziness. And I'm not going to pretend that I know how to change the oil in a car, but I also don't have a car, so get f***ed. But back to cell phones, it makes even less sense here, because people will at least take their car to a mechanic to get fixed for a problem that they can't handle. But with smartphones, people create problems that don't exist because they're ignorant. I knew a girl who thought that her phone was glitching out because she said that her brightness would keep changing randomly. She said that she goes outside and it's super bright, but she goes in a dark room and it's super dark. And I said, Mama, that's auto brightness. I knew someone else who was recording videos for their OnlyFans without a microphone because they didn't know that USB-C microphones existed. And I said, Mama, it's USB-C. It can do anything. You can shove it up your butt and it'll make you poop rainbows. Then my best friend Joseph mentioned to me that the battery life on their iPhone was really bad and they didn't know why. I then observed them going out into the 80-degree North Carolina sun with their brightness at max. They were also using a mobile data hotspot, and so of course course, their phone was on fire. For people who don't know, if you constantly have to charge your phone and your battery life is really bad, it is most likely your fault, because most phones, especially if you have an iPhone, have pretty solid battery life as long as you aren't running every function on the phone all at once. Phones have gotten a lot bigger over the years, but the physics doesn't change. When you open a computer, you have a lot of empty space where they can put fans to cool the device. Your phone does not have fans or any vents, and so the only thing that your phone can do to keep it cool is to make it hotter. That sounds contradictory, but that's how the science works. With no fans and no vents, a smartphone is so small the heat can only travel through the phone, and so the inside of the phone gets cooler while the heat travels outward, and the part of the phone that you actually touch gets insanely hot. And batteries can perform up to half as good when they're too hot, and so the 4 hours of screen on time that you're getting instead of 8 is because you're turning your phone into a George Foreman for no fucking reason. And people know so little about phones that they won't think, let me go to Google and look up how to give my phone better battery life. They don't even know that that's an option. And so people know so little about phones, they just think it's broken. And when you're ignorant, lots of things seem broken. In the Middle Ages, we thought that left-handed people were demons, and now we know that they're just evil. My point is that there is no care to know anything about smartphones, and if you want to talk about the rise of AI and smartphones and the tech industry and the destruction of America, then it is only happening because of the exact same thing. If you listen to anybody online, then AI is a super new thing that might destroy the world. But if you listen to me, then AI is a super old thing that is absolutely gonna destroy the world. AI has been a thing for around 70 years, and in smartphones, it's existed since the beginning of smartphones, so around 2011. So for some of you, AI in smartphones has existed or been a thing for more than half of your life, and you just found out about it last year. A lot of people think that ChatGPT invented AI, and you may not know this, but Google invented the T in ChatGPT, and for them to do that, they had to do something before ChatGPT, and Google did not invent the concept of AI, so someone had to do something before that. And you see how if you think about any of this for more than 2 seconds, then all of the mainstream ideas start to fall apart. This popular idea that AI is new and that there are people who don't and do use AI is a flat out lie. If you use a phone, then you use AI, and it has always been that way. The only difference is that within the last couple of years, companies have been advertising AI because they think it's something that people want. And so now we know the term, but most people don't know what it is, or how it works, or even what the real problems are. And I do want to stress real problems, because AI data centers using water is completely and entirely overblown. The fashion industry uses and has always used way more water than AI data centers. And that industry isn't the only other industry using an abundance more water than AI data centers. For example, the cattle industry uses around 250 times more water than ChatGPT. The real issues with AI is environmental racism and job loss, but there are brain-dead reasons for why that issue won't be getting any better anytime soon. Everybody is focused on the water issue, which I just established is not the problem, and also, number 2, everybody is lazy and likes convenience. And that's AI's whole bet. AI is supposed to make things easier, and so right now, we all hate going through the drive-thru and having an AI take our order, and we say it's because it's bad and because it's stealing a job. But if that AI robot was even slightly better than a real person, then everybody would stop complaining and shut up, and they know that. Y'all don't get that AI is not trying to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be a little bit better than us for all of us to lose our jobs, because paying a human every 2 weeks is a lot more expensive than paying a one-time fee for a robot. These companies aren't going to spend decades perfecting something just to make a profit years later. No, they're going to spend as little money as possible, and so they can make it good enough. I want to point you toward headphone jacks as an example. They removed headphone jacks from smartphones because they said that there wasn't enough space. Never mind the fact that they were also making the phones thinner, and so yeah, you dumb fucks, if the phone is a piece of paper, then there's not going to be any room for a headphone jack. And never mind that there's phones that are released and produced in 2026 that still have headphone jacks, so obviously it's a lie. Anyway, they removed the headphone jack and then told us that we had to buy an adapter or buy expensive Bluetooth headphones that will always have a delay no matter how expensive they are. The first round of these Bluetooth headphones was so garbage, a literal scam. We all had to pay hundreds of dollars for pieces of plastic that only fit in certain people's ears and also sounded like you were holding up a trash can to your ear. The sound quality was awful. Those companies made billions off of doing something so economically hostile. And what did we do? Absolutely nothing! What reason have we given these companies to listen to us or do anything in our favor? We have not. How this relates to AI is that the robots will steal our jobs and we will let them do it because we don't want them. We don't want to participate in the economy or society. We want to stay on these damn phones until we die. What more proof do you need of our collective apathy than the fact that we were all forced to buy $100 earbuds and we all just did it? It's clearly an addiction for most people because I, for example, appreciate how technology works, but an addict doesn't care how the substance works, they just want to have it. An alternate title for this video would be All Tech is Overpriced, but I wanted to talk about other things, so I went with what I went with. However, I still want to talk about how big tech is too expensive because it's a big sign of how addicted everyone is. I could talk about how AI is making the price of RAM skyrocket, or how the tech industry generally operates as a pollution industry, or the infinite amount of human rights abuses that are required to manufacture anything that requires a battery, but you already know about all that. That's why we all use our phones to spread awareness about all the children that have to die in order to make the same phones that we're using to spread awareness because we're all terrible. Anyway, I could talk about all of those things, but what is way more algorithm friendly is money. And we have shown the tech industry that we will pay basically any price for anything, even if it's obviously bullshit. I know you want examples, so here they are. First up is the Cybertruck, and now it is popular to make fun of this car and the guy who made it, but that is a very new development. First of all, most people running things in the tech industry are terrible people with opinions that you would never want to hear, and there is no difference with Elon Musk. He was just a little bit more forward and transparent about how horrible he was. There has always been evidence for all of the bad things that he's done, or that would just generally make him a bad person, but people only started caring when the leaders of the Democrats told them to. If you haven't gotten it yet, the point of this video is that we're all brain dead sheep. Anyway, Elon Musk has always been trash, but because he was selling a cool new techno car, most everyone outright refused to even listen to anybody with half a brain. It's not just the Cybertruck, by the way. Regular Teslas look like unfinished prototype cars and have a slew of defects and quality control issues, and they're technically like a luxury car, so they're expensive as hell. All of those problems have always been problems, but it took until Elon Musk literally tried to blatantly break all the laws for anyone to think that maybe Tesla's overrated. Oh gee, what a great job we've done as consumers. We wait until we make a crazy guy a billionaire to finally think if he deserved any of that money and then complain about how billionaires shouldn't exist. Well honey, maybe if you didn't buy those ugly cars. Another example is laptops. Laptops are a great thing to have, and for a lot of people they're a requirement for their jobs, and so that's why it's so sinister that the price of an entry-level laptop is $300 to $500. And you might think, that's a pretty good price, and you would think that because you're a brainwashed consumer who's addicted to sucking on LEDs. The markup on these e-waste crap books is anywhere from 20 to 40%, and so you're paying up to a 40% premium for specs like an LED screen, clunky keyboard, slow processor, 8 gigabytes of RAM, small battery, and made out of plastic. These entry-level laptops are slow as shit cost hundreds of dollars and won't last more than a few years. And so what seems to be a good price is a scam to get you hooked into what is basically a subscription service, because you will have to buy a new computer. And not to mention that back in the day, cheap laptops were at least easy to repair and upgrade, but nowadays almost all computers are basically impossible to repair and upgrade, and everything is permanently welded to the frame. And that means if you buy a computer with a slow processor, then it will have that slow processor until the day it dies, because you can't take it out. And even if the laptop isn't completely unrepairable, it usually is so complex that the cost it takes is more expensive to repair it than it would be to just get a new laptop. And so you basically have to know everything about laptops and computers to know that you're getting a good deal. And spoiler alert, there aren't any anymore. If you can't get a ThinkPad, then you settle for whatever scraps are left. Also, this is a side note, but I just have to say that tech people are constantly telling people what laptops to get, never thinking about the fact that since they told people what to get, that people go out and get them, so they're never in stock. There are so many tech people out there that think it's easy to get a computer these days, and never mention that you also have to let the Geek Squad run a train on you if you want a chance of actually getting the devices they recommend. Anyway, hopefully these examples paint a picture for just how insidious the economic aspect of the situation is. People will pay for something that they know they shouldn't, and you have to basically be a billionaire to afford basic technology. The reason I think this showcases just how addicted we are is because it showcases the apathy. I wanted to make this video not only as an excuse to talk about smartphones and engage in a special interest, but also to give you a warning, because I genuinely think that none of the problems that we've talked about today will get any better until things get much, much worse. I think that if you ask anybody in America, how are things? They would tell you that things have never been worse, which makes it hilarious that nobody seems to be doing anything about it. The way I see it, things won't change until people go into their pantries, open them, and there's literally nothing there, because clearly we're all still too comfortable. The reality is that tech is too expensive, but we still find the money to buy it, and AI is taking more and more jobs, but we just find more jobs, even if those jobs are a lot worse and pay a lot less. In the same way that an addict's body slowly degrades over time, the country is slowly degrading, but none of us are feeling that degradation because we're high on technology. We won't realize that the tech has killed us until we're already dead, because take a look at what's happening right now. We have allowed big tech to infiltrate our government. We have allowed big tech to make smartphones and computers necessary for modern life and also unaffordable. We have allowed our politicians to not regulate these companies. We have allowed big tech to pollute the earth and speed up global warming. We have allowed big tech to dump toxins into water in black neighborhoods. And we have allowed big tech to put a strain on our energy grid so that there's more outages, and I could go on and on and on about all of the issues that we personally have allowed big tech to do to us. And also, why would these companies ever change? What we do now is the companies do something bad, and then we go to our politicians and they do nothing, and then we throw our hands up and cry, and then we just do that over and over again. When are we going to learn that we are the problem? We are the issue. If a robber comes to your house the first, second, third time, it's their fault. But the fourth time, you have started turning your house into a storefront to host customers. You can't blame the robber because you're not doing anything to help yourself, and we can't continue to blame the companies all the time because we never do anything. This message in this video is for anyone who thinks that there's going to be a messiah that's going to come along and fix everything. It will not happen. Nothing in this country will get better until we start doing something, and that should be encouraging. We don't have to wait for a savior to come along while we suffer. We can do something now. Or just do nothing like we always do and then continue to complain about how everything sucks. I really hope you liked this video. If you want to support the channel, consider becoming a channel member or going to the Patreon. I've been your mother, this has been my YouTube channel, and y'all have a good day. We're not done. Okay, so I made this video as an excuse to talk about phones, but I realized while I was making it that it made more sense as like a cautionary tale, and that's good, but that means that I didn't get to yap about phones nearly as much as I wanted to, and so I'm gonna do that now. Okay, so headphone jacks have been removed from phones, but so have replaceable batteries. You used to be able to just pop off the back of your phone and put in a new battery. And that was really convenient. It wasn't something that you needed to have, but now, because you can't do that, if something wrong happens with your battery and you need to fix it, you have to take it to a technician. You can't just buy a new battery, take the back off, and pop in a new one. You gotta take it to someone and pay them for labor because it's so complicated just to take off the back of a phone. And then there's 5G, which is the world's biggest scam. When they came out with 5G, they hadn't built nearly any of the infrastructure. So for like 2 years, there were a bunch of phones coming out, and they were expensive because they had these new 5G modems that almost none of them could use because there was only like 2 of them in New York City. And because 5G was so inefficient and power hungry, if you were able to use it, then your battery life would be trash. And so just like when they removed the headphone jack, we all had to pay more for something that nobody asks for. Also, some of you may know that I am trying to sell my Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, and it's going terribly, of course. The phone that I paid $1,300 for wholesale from Best Buy is only worth, a year later, kept in pristine condition, $700 at max. That should be illegal. I checked, and the rates for trading it in were even worse. It's like topping out at like $380. That's for a phone that was almost $2,000. And I know that I could have bought an iPhone for $1,300 and it would still be worth the same price today. The only problem is that iPhones are sucky. First of all, the way that Apple designs the animations makes me want to rip off my skin and burn it. The animations take so long, you have to like watch a short film just to swipe and go to the homepage. Also, iPhones only recently became customizable and the cameras aren't as good as they should be, and I also just don't f***ing like them. And so what the state of America is now is that you can either buy a cool phone that you want that will be cool, so an Android, and lose the value as soon as you buy it, just it will be worth $0 as soon as you finish the sale, or buy an iPhone, which will suck, and you'll have to deal with Apple, and then you can resell it for another iPhone, because then if you sell the iPhone for an Android, if you ever want to sell that, you'll be back to having nothing. So like, it's just like, it's And now I'm going to talk about tech reviewers. Tech reviewers on YouTube are mostly all sellouts, and they intentionally try to misinform people because it makes them more money that way. People like Marques Brownlee or Unbox Therapy will show you devices that you can't afford and then spend about 10 or so minutes trying to convince you that you should buy it. And if you look at any smartphone or laptop review, almost every review spends seconds talking about how much the device cost, and a lot of them don't talk about it at all. They know that if they start the video by telling you that the piece of garbage they're going to try and sell you is $1 billion, then you won't watch it because there's no point. But if they don't mention the price or barely talk about it so you forget, then you'll watch the video and see all the cool stuff, and hopefully you won't think about all that and you'll use their affiliate links. I could absolutely say more, but I think I've said enough. So with that, I bid you adieu, Cybertruck. And now it is popular to make fun of this core. I could talk about how could I talk about having their brightness at full with mobile data on, What? Okay. It's the same thing with the what? And most people don't care to know or care to know.